and I do break it sometimes, but it's like no alcohol on school nights because
Hmm.
like work the next day if you have alcohol is not that much enjoyable, and you're kind of robbing your happiness the next day. Yeah, your evening might be better, but it's not worth it the next day. It's
Hmm.
yeah, you're very much in your overdraft. So
Hmm. Well, that's it. You
yeah,
wanna you wanna be at your peak, don't you? And as you say, you need to be filling your body and your mind with good things. Because whatever you're putting in is what's going to come out, essentially, in every sense of that phrase.
yeah, definitely. I've actually done a couple of Tony Robbins courses this year and brought some of our team into it. And Tony Robbins I've followed for a long time, and there's
Hmm.
some of his stuff I'm not a massive fan about, but I do definitely, I feel he's net positive. Some of the stuff he's done, but the big take homes for a lot of our team members is he talks about you need to get your state right. So everyone kind of wants to think about their strategy or what they're going to do, but unless you get your state right, without that you're just not going to be in the right sort of mindset. So yeah, controlling your state is a massive one. Probably didn't even touch journaling's another one that can be
Hmm.
a good one. I probably don't do it as much as I should, but it definitely is beneficial. And
Hmm.
gratitude, um,
Oh, absolutely.
yeah,
Absolutely. It's so important, because it makes you feel so much better as well, when you're thinking of all just those little things, whether it's a case of I'm grateful that I woke up today, because
yeah,
when you're in that state, as you say, trying to raise that state where you need to be more self-aware and you need to start making these habits. But if you're not in a place where you can do that, perhaps as a result of trauma or something else, it's so much harder to overcome, your challenges when you're not in a good place mentally. And for me, the biggest thing, like I've only really started in the last year or so, getting myself right, getting myself sorted in terms of my mental state. And it was actually asking for help that was the best thing I ever did.
yeah, definitely.
Reaching out and saying to people, do you know what, I'm not actually okay and I do need help, and I need to work through this. But it was very difficult at first, to be able to say to someone, right, I'm making myself vulnerable here, I need help.
Yeah, that's definitely really appreciate you sharing that. It is one, yeah, probably should have touched on is, it is just opening up, and it is, a difficult thing to do, and even helping others is another one as well.
Hmm.
Sometimes it ties in that, if you do help others, then it makes you also appreciate kind of what you do have. But
Absolutely.
yeah, no, it is a massively important area. We've actually recently just started supporting two new charities. One's Healthy Kids, which is
Oh, brilliant.
yeah, you may know if you're living in the Lurgan area,
Yeah,
but
that's it, they're based up near me.
yeah, yeah, and I mean, our rationale was, and is that we want to try and get young people into wellness, fitness, any sort of well-being in general. And we feel if we can get young people into that, it's going to have less effects down the line in terms of, different causes, etc. So
Absolutely.
yeah,
Well,
it's
it's
one
it's
where
about that early intervention and that education when they are young, because obviously our minds are so much more malleable at that age as well. So if
yeah,
we're able to get into those good habits and learn those coping skills and strategies and develop that self-awareness, develop that resilience as well,
yeah,
obviously they're going to develop into happier, healthier, more productive adults.
yeah, yeah, no, definitely. I'll turn it around. Have you any other tips? Because I'm all out, but
You're like, that's my list done. So, no, I would say, well, for me, yeah, the biggest one, asking for help. You've already touched on, the mindfulness side and trying to do something every single day. But also, I think being kind to yourself in the way that you think and the way you talk to yourself, because you've got that internal voice and it's the only voice you're never going to be able to get away from.
Yeah, yeah. No, definitely. That is a key one. I think even Tim Ferriss has a good blog, and he shares similar kind of viewpoints as well, Katie. And getting outdoors, I think, is hugely important.
Hmm.
Either up to Cave Hill or into a forest or down by the sea, etc.
Of course,
Is
COVID parameters, not more than 5 miles or whatever the rule is today, currently, at time of recording.
Yeah, I've lost track what the current one is, but
I
yeah,
know.
obviously follow the rules.
That's it. But just in terms of the pandemic, then, has there been anything that you've had to sort of adapt, or has there been any sort of major challenges or even opportunities that the pandemic has thrown your way?
Yeah, I think look with COVID, it has brought equal amounts of challenges and opportunities. I guess for us, if I look back to March last year, there was a stage where we thought we were going to be closing the business for, at that stage we didn't know.
Hmm.
And, we are quite a high growth company, and we're quite leveraged in terms of debt, and we've big overheads
Hmm.
and big payroll, etc. And we there was a stage we would have to went down the route of lots of redundancies, maybe surrendering leases in our headquarters and whatnot. But thankfully, the government guideline was for manufacturing companies to and distribution to stay open. So we made a lot of changes in terms of we were running a 24/6 shift pattern, three different shifts, so we could spread out all of our staff.
Goodness me.
And yeah, we had a big enough increase in terms. We probably grew by about 60 or 70%, which,
Wow.
to be honest, that was our goal anyway. So it kind of, I think some people think, yeah, COVID's, and it has been a good tailwind. I'm not going to sit here and say it hasn't, but it's
Hmm.
just been a very different profile of kind of customers. Normally, we had a couple of big projects that were meant to be happening, and Brighton and Hove was meant to be happening. A big project in Australia, Pure Gym. We had lots
Wow.
of stuff in our pipeline, but all of that was paused on ice. Some have actually been cancelled, and then yeah, it was predominantly e-commerce. We had home gyms going to Hawaii, Singapore,
Wow.
Australia. America's actually our third biggest market, which was a surprise. But yeah, there was a lot of pent up demand for home equipment,
Hmm.
and there still is, albeit it's starting to level off a little bit. So, yeah, look, we're under no illusion that we have been more fortunate than a lot of other businesses.
Hmm.
It is heartbreaking to see small businesses, especially some of the hospitality restaurants, some of the effort they put in to put outdoor areas in for people, and then having to close, and
Hmm.
the uncertainty around it is extremely difficult. And it's not just hospitality. So again, there has been lots of challenges and headaches for us, but equally going back to the gratitude, if we look at what's happening to other people, we can't help but be grateful and feel fortunate for what's happened.
Absolutely. That's what, like, I've had to shield. I've got an underlying health condition, so I've had to shield since last March. So I'm going a bit doolally. I've been indoors for 10 months, but
Yeah.
I am extremely appreciative of the fact that I've actually still been able to run my businesses from home. And it's something that I've just had to adapt to rather than having the rug pulled completely out from under my feet. And it's just heartbreaking, as you say, to see hardworking business people that are losing their life's work. It really is awful to see, but at the same time, it, as you say, it makes you grateful, and also hopefully there'll be some sort of, maybe, innovation or something that good that can come from it. Obviously I don't necessarily know what that looks like because I'm not an expert in the hospitality sector, but hopefully there will be something that we'll be able to build back stronger and better. I sound like I'm a conservative now, don't I?
Yeah, yeah. No, I do agree. Look, it is all in your outlook, and I think it's all the questions you ask as well. And
Hmm.
it I'm not massive. I know the lockdowns are a necessary evil. I'm just not a massive fan. I feel we're going to look back at some of this, especially if they're going to start restricting exercise, etc. for people.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't believe in that. But equally, if we were to look at it, 50, 60, 100 years ago, people were asked to go to war. All were, and I know it's not ideal 100% the lockdown, and it's not nice, but equally we're not being asked to go to war and fight and stuff,
Mm-hmm.
so look, there's always going to be people in a much worse position than you, and I think it's
Yeah.
important to remember, but it doesn't, I'm not trying to paint over the that it isn't, a nice situation that we're in, but
Mm-hmm.
we have to stay positive, and that's one thing that I said to our team. I tried to be as transparent as possible, is that,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what the outcome of this is going to be, but 100% we are going to come out of this a better company on the other side of it. And we used it as an opportunity to, before things got so busy, to do a lot of things, projects that we kind of had in the long finger.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel we have improved as a company, and we've learned lots, and even the new way of working with, people working remotely. A lot of our team were on Teams and everything, but even hiring 20 or 30 staff remotely was an interesting challenge. But yeah, no, it has been an interesting one, but it's obviously still going on as well.
Mm-hmm. No, that's it. Thank you for sharing your thoughts on that as well. It is, as you say, something that's very difficult and challenging, but we have to hold on to that hope, don't we? And have to hold on to that positivity and, that optimism that it is going to get better and it will not last forever. We are going to come out the other side of this. And as you say, hopefully we will come out better, stronger and wiser for that.
Yeah.
I think that's quite a nice note to finish on there. I don't want to take up too much of your time. I know you're a very busy, in-demand man. But if anybody wants to connect, with you or to follow your work of your organisation, how can they connect with you on, social media? Do a wee shout out for me for your handles.
Yeah, sure. Well, I think probably the best place is, Black Box's social media. I probably live a pretty boring life, believe it or not. Kind of work and read and drink some wine at the weekend. But yeah, Black Box, as you alluded to, it's BLK box. Fitness.com, and then most of the handles are on there. I am on Instagram, I think, if you search, or on Twitter, all the usual platforms. But yeah, just to manage expectations, don't be expecting anything too exciting. So yeah, kind of I don't really put too much on social media. Obviously on it occasionally, but it's for me it's a bit of a double-edged sword, or a similar love-hate relationship
Mm-hmm.
with it. But yeah, there's much more interesting stuff on the black box platforms.
Well, that's great. Thank you so much for sharing that. And maybe I'll have to get you back on because I think we align on a lot of our beliefs and interests. And I would that's a whole nother thing we can talk about is social media and mental health and society. So I'll definitely be hitting you up again. You'll be like, can she leave me alone? So.
Yeah, no, I'm more than happy to help out in any way, and well done to you for getting the podcast going and for the work you're doing. I am a huge believer. My fiance Kiva actually works for Princess Trust, so I'm aware
Oh,
of the
brilliant.
work that goes on. And it is something that I'm passionate about, because I feel that young people need to be given more chances, and
Absolutely.
and it's also failure. We need to change the mindset on failure. Like
Yeah,
it is just learning, and
absolutely.
and it comes even from parents and stuff. If people are telling kids off all the time and not to do things, that's all the child is hearing. But anyway, I'm off, and we'll do that. Maybe discuss that further in part two.
That's it.
If that
Yeah, I definitely
happens.
think we need a part B, a B side to this. But no, that's fantastic. Thank you so much for joining me today, for sharing your thoughts, your opinions, your experiences. Really, really appreciate it, and appreciate you taking the time as well. As I say, this is our first episode, so fingers crossed all of this has recorded, because that would be a bonus, wouldn't it, if we if we got to the end and it hadn't worked.